It's very interesting for me to make both parts. So help when they need winemaking, help in every job in the cellar, and also sometimes in the vineyard if the guys needs. It's important because when I go outside from Italy, the people doesn't want just a normal sales because they're already full of that. They want someone that can answer to their question about winemaking. The people is very curious about, and so I think that my background of studies and also my background in the winery helped me to answer properly to all the people about what we do, how we do.
Benvenuti! Welcome to the next generation. With me, your host, Giulia Stocchetti. Join me as I take you on a journey to discover young stars of the Italian food and wine world. Pronti? Andiamo! Hello, and welcome back to a new episode on the next generation on the Italian Wine Podcast. This is me, Giulia, and today I'm so excited to have here with me Filippo Forte from Ca La Bionda. I'm saying that because literally I've been chasing him for like 1 year now, so finally we found the right moment to record this amazing interview. Ciao Filippo, how are you today?
Ciao Giulia, and hi to everybody. And yeah, you're right, we need a lot of time to organize this interview, but the time in the cellar is always very busy, so we try to do our best. Today I'm fine, happy to be here.
Nice, that's amazing, because I know it. You're pretty busy with the winery, with the cellar. There's always something to do, so thank you so much for finding some time for us today. I would really love to get to know you a little better, so can you please introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your background?
Yes, so I'm quite new in the wine world, we can say, because I started my journey only in the 2016 after the high school, because I was a bit confused about my future work life. So I decided to take a flight to London, and I lived there for 1 year. And living there, I was looking for a job, and I started to work in a restaurant in Notting Hill. The cool thing of that restaurant was the people working there, but most of all, they pushed me to know more about the wines we sell. We had more than 200 labels. So I start to get involved into the wine in this way. I start to read about, I start to understand more about the label we sell. And then coming back to Italy, I decided for the university to join the winemaking course in the University of Verona in San Floriano. And I had an experience before of internship in Tuscany, and then I went to Ca La Bionda for my second internship in the harvest of 19. And in January 20, I started my work with Ca La Bionda. At the beginning, I was more in the cellar, helping my colleague Ludovico and the owner Alessandro to make wines. But after we saw that we need someone that take more care of the commercial part, export and Italian. And so I'm doing from, we can say, 3-4 years, mainly this in the cellar, obviously always helping the guys when they need in the winemaking, because it's a small cellar, and this is what we need to. Everybody has to be able to do everything.
When you say like small cellar, what do you mean? Like how many bottles do you make a year, and how many people actually work there?
So Ca La Bionda, the average production is about 120,000 bottles per year. We are just 7 people there, the 2 owners, Alessandro and Nicola, that are brothers, the Castellani. Nicola has a team of guys in the vineyards that are Marco and Francesco, and some seasonal people that comes there to help them. And Alessandro has to work with him, me, my colleague Ludovico, and his wife Valentina, that takes care of the accountants. So formally we are just 7 people, 3 from the Castellani family and 4 employees. And then obviously we have some seasonal people that help us for the harvest and for some work outside in the vineyards.
So basically we can say that it's a family-run business, and working there you actually become part of this family. I was wondering, but are you from Valpolicella or from where? Because how come you ended up at Ca La Bionda?
Formally I am born in Verona, so I'm very near to Valpolicella. I'm from near the city center. I entered in Valpolicella. I studied there at the university, so obviously people from Verona know very well the wines of the area Valpolicella, because are pretty famous here. The fact is that in 18 I made my first internship in Tuscany in Montalcino, And in 19, I was writing my thesis for the university. I was just writing. The lab proof were already made, so I had time. And my colleague, my actual colleague, Ludovico, that is also one of my best friends, worked there. And he told me, why don't you come here to make an internship together so we can have some fun? And I said, why not? He was working there from 6 months. I said, I can do another internship just for my curiosity to see also a different grapes because I work with Sangiovese in Montalcino and was curious to see our local grapes, how to work with those. So I said, okay, let's join. We had 2 or 3 months together from September to November. We had a lot of fun. And also with Alessandro and Nicola, the two owners, we create a very good relationship also outside the working hours. And after they saw that they need one person more to increase the people working there, someone that is focused like them, someone with passion. And I said, yes, why not? We can start all together. It can be a good journey. And after 6 years, because the first harvest was 19 and this is my sixth harvest, the 24, we are still here all together. So I think it's a good place to grow also for the work because Alessandro and Nicola, I always say they have a deep passion in the wines and also they want to share what they learned in the time with a lot of harvest all together. So I think they are a good teacher, we can say. And at the same time, we have a good relationship outside of the working hours. So I think this is the best way to go, I think, for a job for me.
Yeah, that's awesome when you enjoy what you do and you enjoy the people you're working with. I guess it means basically almost like everything because we spend so much time every day at work and it's better and it's nicer if you also enjoy. So I'm happy to hear that, really. But I got two questions for you, or maybe actually three. Like, first of all, how old are you, Filippo?
Right now, I'm 28 years old and I'm going 29 on the next April. So we can still push.
Yeah, always push. And second question, is it so different working with Sangiovese and with Corvina, Rondinella, and the grape varieties native to Valpolicella?
Yes, it's completely different because we start from two very different kind of grapes by the level of tannins, also of color. So the wine that comes from Montalcino and the wines come from Valpolicella are very, very different. And the most important thing is that in Valpolicella also the grapes we see two different shades, the fresh grapes that are used for the Valpolicella wines and the Amarone wines that are made from dry grapes. So the Corvina, Corvinone, Rondinella, and Molinara change their expression between the fresh side on Valpolicella and from the dry grapes for Amarone and also Recioto because it's a sweet wine. So we start from different grapes, Sangiovese and Corvina, for example. But after Corvina has these two different expressions, fresh and dry, that permits to the winemakers to have very different wines. This is the rich, for me, the most important part of Valpolicella that from one single vineyard you can make Valpolicella Classico, Classico Superiore, Ripasso, Amarone, and Recioto. So a lot of different wines, and I think that our goal as winemaker it has to be to make every wine different from the other to show to the people the difference of wines we can make in this area that is something unique, I think, for the winemaking in Italy. Yeah, versatility is one of the things that come to my mind when I think about Valpolicella and its grapes and its wines, because as you said, from just some varieties, you get so many different types of wines. And so my question is, what's your favorite version, like the fresh or the dried grapes? In my personal opinion, I prefer for daily use the fresh side of the grapes because I think that the Valpolicella wines still have a lot of market available that they don't know. Because us, as Ca La Bionda, Nicola and Alessandro started this project in 1998 of working for the Valpolicella wines only with fresh grapes. And when I was arrived in 19, I saw that all this work they made in the past is starting to giving right now in this moment good sellings because this fresh side of Valpolicella is something quite new on the market. The people is more used to when they think to Valpolicella, they think to the powerful side given by the dry grapes, but we can say that the fresh grapes is still not so known to the people. About the dry side, what I like is that you can make Amarone and Recioto, that are two great wines, but obviously are two wines that you don't drink every day. So if you think for a wine for every day, I think the fresh grapes is something very interesting for the Valpolicella. And then when you look for something special for some dinner, so, for some particular menu, for wine pairing, so you can go with the Amarone that is something very interesting because with the Sforzato Valtellina, Amarone Valpolicella are the two only, I think, the two only Italian wine from dry grapes, but dry, not sweet. So this is something really interesting on the Amarone wines.
Yeah, it's kind of unique wine. I was wondering how was moving from the cellar to the sales.
Well, I think it's really interesting and also was a bit of challenging at the beginning because I didn't study sales or commercial or marketing. I just made some course at university, but all the things that I know, I learned from Alessandro, my boss, and also from myself that I traveled a lot in my life. So I love to speak with people. And I think this is the base to make commercial in sales because you have to be able to speak with everybody. It's very interesting for me to make both parts. So help when they need winemaking, help in every job in the cellar and also sometimes in the vineyard if the guys needs. It's important because when I go outside from Italy, the people doesn't want just a normal sales because they're already full of that. They want someone that can answer to their question about winemaking that people is very curious about. And so I think that my background of studies and also my background in the winery helped me to answer properly to all the people about what we do, how we do, because I know what the guys do, I know what I do in the cellar, so it's very easy for me to answer to the people in honestly, obviously, in this way.
Yeah, sounds about right. I mean, you've been lucky because you saw every single aspect of the wine world, I can say, because you started from actually making wines and then now you're on the other side, just selling wines and talking to people and spreading the Ca La Bionda word. So that's kind of unique thing because most of the time people start in the vineyard and they end up in the vineyard or on the sales side and they just do sales. But in your case, your experience is definitely much, much bigger and of course helps you doing a great job day by day. That said, because you're on the sales side, let's say, I guess you take part into some events, right, to promote the wines and let people taste your wines. So, I mean, Ca La Bionda is among the Vivi founders, right?
Yes, Alessandro is one of the founder with other producer of the FIVI, that is this important Italian Federation of Independent Wine Grower.
Yeah, you just got back from Vivi, right?
Yeah, exactly. I was back from the market of FIVI in Bologna the last weekend. That was a massive event. More than 1,000 producer of wine were there. And I think that FIVI is a very good thing for the Italian wine market because permits with a simple logo, the logo of the FIVI that you put on the bottle, you can put on the cork in very different positions. But it's very important because the people who knows Fifi, they know that the wine they are going to buy is made from wine grower, from a vigneron. That is the most important thing to know because if you have to choose from three wines that you never heard about from a region, if you see the logo Fifi, you can think at least this is made from a wine grower. After the taste is very personal because all the wines are different, all the people are different, and my taste is different probably from your taste. So a wine that I like, maybe you don't like, but this is taste and is pure personal. But Phoebe, I think it's a good thing because permits for the people to recognize the wine grower. And also it's very important for the wine grower because you can associate all together to make requests also in the parliament that is much more important to be in 1,000 producer than 20. The thing I see in Bologna is that all these producer, they were nearby us, but also far from our both. You can create a link with the people, you can associate, and also you can create friendship. That is the most important thing in our job because when you need some tip, when you need something, you can always ask to other people that make your job and you can trust them. So I think that TV has a lot of good things inside and is very important for the medium, small wine grower of Italy.
Basically, what does the word FIVI stand for?
So FIVI stands for Italian Federation of Independent Wine Grower.
Okay, and how does the logo look like, just for people that maybe haven't seen it before?
So the logo of Phoebe basically has a name also is Ampelio, is a paint of vigneron that bring on his head a basket full of grapes. His shadow is a bottle of wine. It's simple but really impressive in the mind because yeah, once you saw it and you understand what does it mean, you always remember. I think it's pretty easy to see this logo. And also all the producers that are associated have some of this painting in the cellar like us also. I think all the wineries that takes part of VV have some paintings in the cellar just to remind to the people that this logo is very important and that this logo means something. It's not just a logo, but it's a federation. So it's very important.
So it's something that you really feel. I mean, if you're part of it, you really believe in what you're doing, and you're a really vigneron who actually works the land, delivering terroir wines with no makeup, I would say.
Yeah, exactly. It's a pure expression of terroir, but also of the idea of the winemaker, because there are a lot of winemaker in every federation, and obviously everyone has a different expression of wines. But I think that yeah, you feel that you are part of something, that you are not alone in this work, and also it's important for the people to understand that the wine there are still artisan producer that try to express something with their wines.
Are there many wineries in Valpolicella that are part of FIVI, or is just a few?
A lot, I think, yes, of wineries that are part of Phoebe. The exact number, I don't know, but I think more than 40 for sure. All the wineries that are Phoebe and in Valpolicella are medium, small size, we can say. And obviously, we know not everybody, but almost all the producer we know. Valpolicella is pretty small if you see by the size, so you can easily know all the associate of Phoebe Valpolicella.
Except for FIVI, what other kinds of events do you take part during the year to promote your wines? Do you sell mostly in Italy or abroad?
We can say that right now, Ca La Bionda, we sell around 60-70% of our wines in export market, and the rest 30-40% in Italy. Depends on the year, obviously. Every year is a bit different. In Italy, we take part usually only to fair, the Fivi and the Vinitaly. That is the most important fair for us because it's where we can meet all our partner all around the world or our importers of wine and where we can taste the new vintage all together. And then we make some little portfolio tasting of our Italian distributor Sarzia Madè. And then when we go outside of Italy, usually is or me or Alessandro, the owner, traveling. Generally are two different kind of events or normal portfolio tasting for distributors, like, you know, all the wineries go there for 1 or 2 days to pour the wines to their customer and explain the wines. But also sometimes we make something more focused with our partners outside, and maybe we can make like 3, 4, 5 days of market visit, just us, just Ca La Bionda, and our agents in the different part. For example, this year I made it in Sweden, the last year in Belgium and Washington DC. So we go there, we meet all the agents, we go to meet their customer, to make tasting with the customer. And I think this is very important for the work because when the people, when the restaurant see you there, they see that you explain wines, you make a very good work also for them to remember your wines after.
Sounds like you really enjoy doing it, right?
I love this job because it's different shades of the winemaking, and I like that Alessandro gave me this opportunity also to travel for them to represent Ca La Bionda outside, and also he gave me the opportunity to learn before how we do, what we do, why we do these things.
Wow, that's amazing, really. I mean, you're lucky because not everyone has a boss like Alessandro that actually helps you out.
No, I always say that Alessandro and Nicola are the lucky of Ca La Bionda because obviously they are the boss and we always follow them, but they also leave us free space to grow and to express our ideas. And this is why me and Ludovico, he's there from January 19 and they are from officially from January 20 because before I was an internship. And also the guys outside, it's a lot of years they are working with us. Be there all together, it's a very good thing for us because we are not just co-worker, but we are also friends, and it's much better for the daily work to go in a place where you're happy at the end.
Yeah, of course. And because we are on the next generation, I was wondering, is the younger generation of consumers part of your target, or are you still working on it, or you think they're not really interested, or they're crazy about your wines?
I think that our range of customer is pretty wide, and obviously the young people take part of that. We work mainly with restaurant, wine shop, and also our partner outside of Italy. They make the same. So after at the restaurant, it's hard to know who drinks your wine, obviously. But what I can see when I travel around is that there is a new generation of sommelier, young sommelier, that are really curious about the wines, are really curious about taste, new wines, new ideas. And I think that Ca La Bionda right now is a really new idea in the world of the wine because Alessandro Nicola decided to point all on the freshness, on the drinkability of the wine more than on the body, that it's secondary for us. So I think that, Ca La Bionda is pretty popular between the young people, but because these young people are curious about knowing us. So I think this is the most interesting things. Also at Phoebe, I saw a lot of young people coming there tasting the wines because some producer tell them to try, some sommelier suggest them to try. It's amazing to see that a lot of people appreciate our work because at the end we work to make the people happy, because when you make wines you're trying to make the best, to make the people happy of enjoying your wines and to remember the situation where they drink your wines.
Definitely. So you think basically the modern younger consumers' expectations are all about like happiness of enjoying a good glass of wine, right?
Yeah, and also to drink, we can say wines that represent a land, because our wines, like other wines obviously, but I talk about our wines because I know well, really represent the expression of the Marano Valley in the glass. And I think that when someone, with the young people, travel a lot, and when they go in a place, they want to eat the local food and they want to drink the local wines, the local beers. So they want to focus on what is local and unique in that area. And this is the lucky of Italy, because every region you go, every city you go, probably you have a different wine from the other. So when the people travel to Italy, as this lucky that they can taste a massive range of different wines. And I think that right now the young want to try the wine that represent better that there are. So they read online, they ask maybe if they have friends that works in the wine business or they're sommelier. So I think that the young people are really curious, but also informed about the wines. And I think that to be in that kind of market, you have to be also very representative of your area.
Because you were talking about food and wine, if you have to pick a wine of yours and pair it with a local typical dish, what would it be, your pairing?
I think that we can go on our Amarone Classico Ravazzol, that is a single vineyard Amarone we produce. And the quite easy pairing, we can say, is that here in Verona is pretty easy to find boar like venison. This kind of Amarone that is completely dry without residual sugar pairs very well with the venison. So I think this could be one shade. The other shade could be the Valpolicella Superiore, our Casalvegri, the other cru, that is completely opposite as the Amarone because it's a wine made only from fresh grapes. And in this case, it's a wine that goes out from 13 to 35 alcohol, so much more lighter by that alcohol taste. And so we can go with a very big range of plates. Like in Verona, it's pretty famous the risotto because we have Isola della Scala that is one of the biggest producer of rice. And so we can pair the Casalvegri with a lot of local risotto, like with tastasal or with radicchio or pumpkin also, that are pretty famous in Verona. So two wines and two different plates. Casalvegri is more open to play also to the pairing. When we go on the Amarone Ravazzolo, I think we can stay more on the meat world, and it will be venison, but also it can be a good plate of meat like brasato alla marrone. That is the easiest probably pairing, but always a good pairing.
All right, I guess that after your pairing recommendations, lots of people are like looking for flights or for trains or whatever to get to Verona to have a bite of all the delicious things we have here. So,
Yeah, let's hope.
yeah, for sure. I was wondering if you have to pick a wine of yours that better fits the new generation palate, what would it be and why?
It could be two wines that are different, but at the same time they have the same idea.
I like Filippo because I ask for one and he always has two. That's amazing.
We can go, for example, on the Valpolicella Classico. That is probably the most identity wines of our region because it's a base wine. And from the base wine, a lot of people can understand how a winery works. And all the young people start usually to understand a cellar from the base wine because also it's the cheapest. So if you work properly and you express very well the terroir from a base wine, I think that after when you go up with the other wines, you just can increase your quality. Valpolicella is, I can talk for us, is a wine that doesn't go in the food. So it just aged in stainless tank for 5 months. So it's the real expression of the terroir and of the grapes, Corvina, Corvinone, Rondinella, and Molinara. And to continue on this line, after Valpolicella, we can go on the Valpolicella Superiore, the Casalvegri, that I talked before. But because I think that two wines are, in our idea, really linked, because the Valpolicella is the easy approach to our area. And after, with the Superiore, we go with a wine that make an aging of 18 months in oak barrels, big oak barrels only of 3,000 liters, and then minimum 6 months in bottle. So you have also the evolution of the fresh grapes that is really important for me because when you make a Valpolicella Superiore like us only from fresh grapes, but from a selected vineyard and without choosing any grapes to make a Marrone, but using only the best grapes to make this kind of wine, you have to feel the link between Valpolicella, the base, and Valpolicella Superiore. So this is why I think these two wines are very actual for the young people because they start from the Valpolicella Classico and then they move on the Valpolicella Classico Superiore because they feel this link between the two wines and also they see that there is an idea of terroir behind these two wines here.
Yeah, and it sounds like there at Ca La Bionda you have basically all the shades of Valpolicella, let's say, because you start from the Classico, like the first wine. I don't like to call a wine a base wine or entry level because I don't think it's a matter of quality, but as you said, it's a matter of winemaking and also like expressing, the terroir in different ways.
Yes, exactly.
So I think it's really worth it actually to come to visit you because you also host people, right? I mean, people can come to your winery for tasting.
Yes. So we host tasting every week and we are always open to meet our customer and people that want to discover Ca La Bionda. Obviously, we are a few, so we have our way to make appointment, but we never say no, I think, to someone except on Sunday because it's the rest day also for us. We like to receive people because I think the greatest experience to understand the winery is to visit a winery. And we also as a team, but also in the private life, all the team of Ca La Bionda, we like to travel, we like to visit wineries, we like to understand more about wineries because first of all, we love wines. And if you love wines, you always discover something new every day and you're always more curious. So yeah, we know that we like to do this. So we like also to host the people to try to answer to all their questions and make a good tasting together.
to share knowledge and passion, and some Valpolicella also with people who are not really from the place and want to know more. That's amazing. I wish I had time to come to visit you too.
When you want, you can just send me a message and we can organize. Very happy about.
Sounds great. Thank you so much. Well, I have a bunch of questions actually to ask you, but we are running out of time. So the only thing I can say is like, is there anything else you'd like to add before we wrap up the episode, or any message you want to send?
I think that I talk a lot, so it's my problem. We can make like 2 hours of podcast and I won't suffer about because I talk a lot. I don't have any particular message, just that I think that the people that listen to your podcast and everybody, not only about Ca La Bionda, not only about Valpolicella, but all around Italy, there are good wines everywhere. There are good people everywhere. And I think it's really interesting when you are into the wine business or wine passion also, because we see also as a business, but a lot of people it's only a passion, a daily passion is to travel, to meet the people that makes the wines, to understand why there are differences in the wines, and not just, judge the wines, but try to understand why something is made in the way he's made.
Beautiful. So just go behind the label.
Yeah, exactly. I think it's always interesting the story of the people. The winemakers are all different. And I can see from my boss, Alessandro Nicola, they are very different in some things, but they have a lot of point in common about the quality of the products. And this is what I like of the winemakers. Different ideas, different places, but everybody has the goal to make a great wine. And the taste is very personal, as we said before. So maybe we drink 10 bottles together and I like 5 and you like the other 5. So the taste is very personal. We can't judge a wine, or we can, but just in personal opinion. But we always have to drink good wines that we like, because wine is a pleasure. It's nothing mandatory. So we have to be happy of spending our money and be happy of what we are drinking.
I totally agree with you. That's awesome. Thank you so much, Filippo. And thank you so much, everyone, for listening. And don't miss the next episode next Sunday on the Italian Wine Podcast. Grazie mille.
Grazie mille, è stato un piacere. Alla prossima.
Grazie for being with me today and listening to the next generation on the Italian Wine Podcast. Alla prossima. Cin cin!